You know what it is! It's Taco Tuesday!
As most of you already know, there still isn't a ton of really exciting things going on in the NFT space right now. A lot of the volume and activity is still basically just free mints and degen plays. But today I want to cover a real project that is actually doing some exciting and innovative things that I think give it potential to be a long-term hold with staying power in the space, but almost a guarantee that it's gonna 2 to 5x, maybe even 10x post mint. Today, I'll be covering the woman-led project, Metakami. Before we jump into things, make sure you guys hammer the like button, subscribe to the channel, and then drop me a comment if there's other projects out there you guys want me to do a deep dive on, whether they've minted months ago or even recently, or if it's an upcoming mint that you guys think has a ton of potential even in this down market. Metakami does have an anime art style, so I think it's important to just cover real briefly the anime meta, the anime style NFT projects, because in the past, I do think this is one of my stronger suits. I've called out a lot of the more successful anime style NFT projects way before they even minted and had a good pulse on how they would do. So to this day, one of my most popular videos on this channel is going to be me talking about Azuki as having blue chip potential, being one of the biggest brands in the space before it had even minted. And so we all obviously know where Azuki is at today, even with all the FUD. It is a major successful project just in the NFT space and really history for NFTs and for the anime style. Next, we'll look at a project like Murray that I covered on this channel, a solo deep dive video on the project, Murray by House. I believe Murray went as high as like 1.5, maybe even 2 ETH at its peak, from 0.15 for whitelist, 0.3 for the public. So massive gains on Murray. Same with Koami, which dropped around that same time. I believe I covered Koami before they had even had a Discord. It was only a few thousand followers, and so that project also was pretty successful in the bull run, hitting like 1.52 ETH. And then Project PXN is probably one of the more recent ones that I just could not stop talking about on this channel. I covered them maybe 2 to 3 different times, just talking about why I'm extremely bullish. And PXN got as high as to like, I think 4 to 5 ETH at its peak pre-mint. So all these projects have done extremely successful at some point. And so if you got in early, if you followed the videos, you would have done extremely well on these investments. So I'm going to definitely assess Metakami on its own, but I also want to keep in mind what I've learned from past projects to talk about what I really like and what I'm hoping they do. So heading over to Metakami's Twitter, you guys can see they have about 88,000 followers right now. So no, it's not extremely early, but in this down market, when it comes to getting whitelisted or getting in these projects early, you definitely have a way good of a chance, even with it being 88,000 followers right now, to still go in there and get whitelist. I've been a little active in the Discord. They have events on a daily basis and tons throughout the week that'll give you guys a chance to, one, get engaged and be involved in the community, but also get Kami listed, which is their whitelist. So right now, like I said, there's not a ton of projects out there that are exciting to me, but what stood out for Metakami that separates it from a lot of those other anime projects that I've talked about, that I've covered in the past, is the actual videos that they have out right now. Their pin tweet is one of their initial trailers for the project. It's extremely well done, a few minute long video that really gives you some insight into kind of the characters. It kind of basically gives you an overlay to the project by having the manga actually in this trailer. There's a bunch of combat, and it looks like something that could actually be adapted into an anime someday, which I think is the hope when you're investing in any of these anime NFT projects, is that maybe one day this will actually become a popular manga or a popular anime, or at least just a anime style brand like Azuki has definitely shown itself to be. These videos that we've seen so far, this crazy combat, the sound is phenomenal, the sound design is phenomenal. It just looks really incredible. And I think when you see these teaser trailers, you get a sense of what this brand can become, the potential of the manga, and really any further adoption down the line. So we'll head over to the Metakami website, which I remember early on, just having a clean website was such a good sign of how well a project would be. I know a lot of these projects just use a very similar template, but either way, Metakami's got a really nice looking website so far. So we'll go over to the project right now, and on the about, they talk about how Metakami is actually going to take place in this hyper reality in the year 3022, and that Metakamis are essentially a fusion of this Shinto deity and then animals. So you guys are going to see animals will play a massive role in the art design of the project. Animals are hidden throughout a ton of the traits, and the presence of animals overall and just the culture in the project is everywhere. And I'll explain that in just a minute into further detail. I'm going to bounce back and forth between their website and this Medium paper because they say the same thing, but in just different formats. But the main utility with Metakami, this innovative factor that really separates it from these other projects that I've mentioned, is that they have decentralized storytelling. So I know with Murray, I know that their whole plan was to have a manga. I don't really know how that has developed. I haven't followed it as closely. I know PXN has released manga pages on their Twitter, and I think same with Kiwami. So they've given you like previews of manga pages and so forth. I think Metakami is really honing in on that decentralized storytelling, and they're actually hoping to really deliver something strong here. And so basically the essence is that your Metakami NFT is going to be your key to the Kami Lab, where you're going to be able to vote on just about every detail of their manga. So from the characters and the plot to the chapter titles and even the cover art, which really makes it decentralized. You have that kind of DAO governance where you're a co-author of the manga. Everyone that's a holder has a chance to vote on a weekly basis on how they think the story should go. You participate in voting on a weekly basis in terms of what you want the story to go on in that DAO kind of format. At the end of the month, there's going to be a chapter of the manga released, which will also be a free to claim NFT for holders. So if you're not a holder, you're gonna have to go to OpenSea if you want to check out the manga. And based on the video teasers that we've seen, the storytelling, the quality, we've gotten a peek at what is there. There's definitely a ton of potential. If Metakami, the art hits really good, it's extremely popular, if the project takes off, you can imagine the speculation of how the manga could perform. People might buy in just to flip. People may buy in because they actually want to see what goes on in the manga. Either way, any kind of secondary volume is going to relate and correlate to royalties for holders who burn that chapter in the following month, if that makes sense. So really cool concept. Not only just having that decentralized storytelling where you're able to actually vote and make decisions on what happens and actually execute on a manga, which I don't think we've really seen done so far, but also to have it as an actual NFT that's free to claim. You can hold it, or obviously any volume is going to relate to royalties that will be available for holders. Overall, the community engagement in the storytelling is really, really interesting. I think this is such a cool feature for you to be basically co-authoring the chapters and being a part of the storytelling. In a bear market or a down market like we're in right now, and probably for the next several months at least, it is so important to invest in founders and teams that are builders in this space, that actually care about the NFT space and ecosystem, and they're also very passionate about what they're building in their project. And I think the engineers or the team here for Metakami really puts it all out there. You know, fully docs team, they have a bio with, you know, their socials and why they're, you know, why they wanted to create Metakami. You know, May here, the founder, you know, huge anime and manga geek, an animal lover. So that really gives you a sense of like the direction of this project. And, you know, for each of them, it talks about, you know, where they've worked. They have, you know, team members who've worked for, you know, Riot and Disney, you know, Shein and Nike, Toyota, Lego, like tons of real professional experience for the members of this team. I also love to see that they actually have a manga lead and a manga artist. So specifically just for the manga itself. You know, Yutong, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, 15 years of experience in storytelling, working with notable companies like Ubisoft and Tencent. So actually having someone fully committed to the manga gives you a sense that this manga is actually going to have a chapter done each month. It's going to actually have progress on a weekly basis because they have someone fully committed to just that part of the project, which it is a big part of the utility, so that makes a ton of sense. So to give you guys some key alpha that is not, really out there in the public or even in their Discord server yet, I believe they settled on a supply of 5,000, which is really good. I think a low supply right now is obviously going to be really important for two different reasons. One, just market conditions in general. Having a lower supply is going to be a lot beneficial in terms of floor price. The second thing is that if you're actually going to be giving royalties to holders who burn the manga, I think 5,000 gives holders a higher chance of actually getting some kind of return of royalties. So that's really cool. The second thing is the mint price. I don't think it's been finalized yet, but I know the team in their AMA talked about it being around 0.05 ETH, which, given the fiat value of ETH right now, that is extremely bullish. That is a very, very cheap mint price. So at 0.05, you're looking at a very real potential of it being a 5 to 10x or even beyond that. There's going to be over 700 traits in the collection, with about 150 of them being related to animals in some way. So 700 traits, that is a ton. There's going to be 20 one-of-ones, which is quite a bit, but I actually like that there's more one-of-ones, and they're all going to be animated, which is, once again, just a really cool way to stand out the really rares or the one-of-ones from the rest of the collection. In terms of like an analysis and to wrap up the project, like I said, I've seen a ton of anime projects drop in the past few months. I haven't seen any of them that have talked or shown previews of mangas actually deliver a full-blown manga that's popular, that's successful, that's something that people have actually gone and talked about. Metakami actually looks like they're committed to executing just that. And I think the decentralized storytelling in a down market where people aren't really active or interested, giving them something to do on a weekly basis and even having that airdrop at the end of the month with just even a chance of some kind of return on royalties, I think is really cool. The art is really on par with some of the better anime projects out there. I'm not going to say Azuki caliber, but it's definitely up there. It's one that I would rep as a PFP. Metakami overall, I'm extremely bullish on. We do not know the mint date yet, but I can't wait to just get closer to mint and see a lot more of the details and developments roll out. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, hammer the like button, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I'm out.